Hello, I'm Kevin Goggins, Chief People Officer for ATG, and today I want to give you a brief overview as a new employee of the benefits that are available to you here at ATG. First, I want to talk a little bit about the philosophy and how we think about benefits at ATG. We have designed our benefits based on feedback from you, our members. This feedback can be throughout the year at our various informational sessions or in our annual employee survey, which is launched in the spring. Second, we want to make sure employees have choice in the levels of coverage they have and the type of insurance they provide. So we want to make sure we're providing choice. Our plans are designed with various components to promote good health. I'll talk about that at various points in today's presentation. And finally, regardless of which location you're at or your role in the organization, all of the choices are the same for all of our employees. Not everyone may make the same choices, therefore people will eventually have different benefits based on their choices, but the choices are the same for everyone in the ATG network. And again, I think it's most important to understand that we're trying to enhance our benefits, provide more choices at as low cost as possible, and yet providing great insurance or other benefit coverage. Again, this is one of the main key drivers from the employee engagement survey that we did last year to make sure that we have the right benefits in place. Your health, the health of your and well-being of your family are of the utmost importance for us at ATG. Now, while your primary contact for benefit information will be the HR team, your local HR manager, know that we also have the Raleigh agency on our side. Raleigh is our partner in finding the best companies to work with in providing these benefits. Raleigh is ATG's and your advocate in the process. So if there's ever any challenges that you have with the insurance carriers or providers, again, you can go to HR, know that Raleigh is behind the scenes working to solve those issues. But we need to know about them, otherwise we can't solve them across our network. So while you normally will work with your HR contact, know that Tim, Travis, and the entire team from Raleigh are there for us and for you. You will also see this team over the year as we do those seminars around plans and benefits available, as well as during the open enrollment. Now, open enrollment is the annual process by which you can change your benefits. So the benefits you're selecting today will be in place until January of 2024, unless you have a life event. You get married, you have a birth of a child, for example. So remember that what you pick today stays in place until January of 2024. The open enrollment process for next year's benefit will start in November of 2023. Okay, with that off to the side, today I'm going to cover our primary benefits, some of the voluntary benefits, additional perks and benefits, and finally talk briefly about how you can enroll in your benefits. So first, our primary benefits. The first benefit most people think about is medical or health insurance. So I talked about choice, and you can see on this slide, indeed, we do have 3 different health insurance, medical insurance plans to pick from. All 3 are backed by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. The first is a preferred provider organization, a PPO, that happens to have a high deductible health plan associated with it. A lot of acronyms today. So a PPO, preferred provider organization with that high deductible health plan. And you can see the deductible rate of $2,900 for an individual, $5,800 for a family. And it's important to know that this is co-insurance versus a copay. I'll talk a little bit more about that briefly. The other 2 options are both HMO or health management organizations. Now, you can see there's 2 different plans. And again, I'm not going to get into a lot of details around the plan design and the differences. There are a lot more information available via video or the actual plan documents on Navigator. And we're going to talk about Navigator at the end of today's presentation. So suffice it to say, we have 3 plans to choose from. One of them is a high deductible plan. The others are HMOs. Now, with both HMO plans, it's also important to understand that even though those deductibles listed there are what the plan has, ATG has also put in place a health reimbursement account, an HRA, which will cover 50% of that deductible cost in other various copays, emergency rooms, scans, etc. So an HRA, a health reimbursement account, is part of the HMO plans. It's not part of the PPO high deductible plan. So things to think about a PPO, and this was a new plan that we introduced this year. So in prior years, we only had the HMO. So this goes back to, there was some feedback around our HMOs, great plans, but they weren't meeting the needs of everyone. So things to think about with a PPO, one is with it, you have a health savings account, an HSA, where ATG will match 1-for-1 up to $250. So if you contribute to your health savings account, ATG will match, as well as put in $250 up front for a total contribution of $500. So it's a great way to get some initial money in that savings account. Now, know that choosing a PPO will increase your deductible risk. As an individual, it'll go to $2,900. So you'll see eventually that there are lower premiums, lower weekly out-of-pocket premiums for your paycheck for a PPO, but that higher risk associated with the higher deductible. Lower monthly premium, higher medical expense risk, high deductible, think like car insurance. You can get a higher deductible that makes your weekly or monthly payments lower. It also has co-insurance versus co-pay. So the HMOs are co-pay. You know you're going to pay $20 or $10 depending on what it's for. With an PPO, with a high deductible health plan, it's co-insurance. So it's a percentage of the cost. So why would you consider a PPO? Well, based on the feedback, one reason is you get access to the Blue Cross Blue Shield National Provider Plan. The HMOs are really good as long as you and everyone that's under the plan lives in New England. However, if you have someone that's on your plan, let's say it's a daughter or a son, a child of yours that's going to school out of New England, they would not be covered under the HMO plan. So if you need access to the national provider network, the PPO may be a good option. Now, if you're just traveling somewhere and you need an emergency room visit, understand that you're always covered on the HMO for that. The other reason to consider a PPO is you want to go out of network. So the HMO for Blue Cross Blue Shield is a great network, but you may have a doctor that's out of network. With a PPO, you can always go out of network. You do not need a referral with the HMO to see a specialist. You need a referral. And you know the same service costs are going to be at any provider. And with this HSA, this health savings account, you can accrue long-term savings because it is truly a savings account, not a spending account. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But remember, you will not get the benefit of the health reimbursement, the HRA, under a PPO plan. So some reasons to consider a PPO as long as you understand the risk associated with it. So here you can see the cost for each of the plan. Note, HMO plans are both the same rate. The PPO plan you can see is less weekly. These are weekly costs for you. PPO is less expensive. You can see that. If you do take this and save money by using the PPO, you have a weekly savings, let's say of $16 as a single employee, someone that's only covering yourself. That's $850 of savings throughout the year. Put that into your healthcare savings account, the HSA. ATG will put $500 in there. That's $1,350 in your HSA health savings account. That's 47% of deductible. So you can see, because it's a savings account, you don't have to spend it in the same year. You can accrue that account over time. You can take it with you if you ever leave the organization. We hope you don't as a new hire, but if you do, that savings account goes with you. So balance that lower premium with the higher out-of-pocket risk. Also, with any of the Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance plans, whether it's the PPO or the HMO, you are eligible for reimbursement for fitness membership and weight loss programs, $150 each. So you might belong to a gym, let's say Gold Gym or Planet Fitness, Or maybe it's something at home where you have a subscription like Peloton or Hydro, up to $150 reimbursement, and it's weight loss programs as well. For the weight loss reimbursement, healthy eating, exercise, and coaching sessions with a health professional. How do you get reimbursed? Simply submit for reimbursement online or download the form from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you can mail it right to the Blue Cross Blue Shield team. Okay, health insurance, always the most complicated, especially since we have 3 different plans. Dental benefits should be a lot simpler. First is with Delta Dental of Massachusetts. It's a PPO plan. The annual maximum benefit is $2,000. Orthodontic lifetime coverage of $1,500. Now, just like health insurance, where your annual wellness checkup and many of the preventive costs are free, the same with your cleaning. If all you get on that annual basis is your cleaning and a checkup for a dentist, ideally twice a year, there's no cost. And if you do that, you need to do that, you can roll over $600 to that annual benefit maximum. So that $2,000 can become $2,600 after a year if you haven't tapped into it, up to $3,500. So you go a couple of years, you have no out-of-pocket costs, just do your annual cleanings, and then eventually you have a cavity or you need a crown replaced, and you have now $3,500 to tap into. But remember, you need to do your preventive care at no cost to you to get that rollover benefit. So Delta Dental of Massachusetts is our provider. That's in that network access to most area dentists are going to take Delta Dental. And you can see the cost for Delta benefits per week for a single an employee who's only covering his or herself, $4.59, up to the family coverage of $12.31 per week. Next, vision benefits provided by VSP. Now, you may see principals. We've co-branded as VSP and principal. Occasionally, you'll see documentation that has VSP, occasionally principal. Know that the annual allowance for frames is $200. Towards contacts is $200 as well. You can get an exam, new lenses, new contacts every 12 months. Frames last a little bit longer, so 24 months for the frames. There's a wholesale price match, so our plan guarantees you're going to get the lowest price as long as you go to a VSP provider, which again, most places accept VSP. In network locations. If you do go out of network, there is still a discounted service provided as well. And new this year is we have this urgent care option outside of the medical plan, that if you need essential medical eye care quickly and you go to an urgent care with a $20 copay, you can get that with VSP. So VSP Vision through principal, and you can see the rates are very affordable. Single coverage, 62 cents a week. Family coverage, $1.64 for a weekly coverage. Couple other things that I want to highlight. So that's a lot of choice. You're going to have to make choice on medical. You're going to have to decide if you want dental. You're going to have to decide if you want vision. So all of those, of course, are out-of-pocket expenses, but hopefully you find those benefits useful. There's some benefits that you get just by being a full-time employee of ATG, which includes short-term disability, long-term disability, and life insurance, all provided by Lincoln Financial Group. First, the short-term disability, it covers you in case you have a short-term illness or you're out of work, 60% of your weekly pay up to $1,500 a week. Long-term kicks in after that. If you exhaust a short-term disability, you go into long-term disability. It's again 60% of your monthly pay up to $7,500. So these are at no cost to you. The short-term disability starts on day 7 if it's an illness, on day 1 if it's an injury. And then finally, there's life insurance at the company program. We provide 1 time of your salary up to $50,000 for life insurance. So all you need to do is when you're going through the enrollment process, these are automatically selected for you, no cost to you. We do need to know who your beneficiary is for the life insurance in the unfortunate event that you have to use that. We need to know where the money should be going to. I talked briefly about this when I was talking about medical, but I want to go into a little more detail around the FSA and HSA benefits and the differences between them. First of all, if you're part of the HMO plan, you can contribute to a flexible spending account. And I'm emphasizing that word spending here because These are those accounts that you typically have in an annual basis that you have to use it or you lose it. Now, there is a provision that we can roll over up to $500 to the next year. So very beneficial. This is pre-tax dollars, so you're saving your tax rate, you're putting it aside into the spending account, and then you can use that for various co-pays, co-insurance, whether you're deductibles, but you can also use it for stuff in the pharmacy, prescriptions, co-pay maybe, or maybe you're just getting over-the-counter sunscreen or aspirin or Band-Aids. All of that can be bought using your flexible spending account, your FSA, and it's pre-tax dollars, so you're saving 20% or more based on your tax rate. Also know whatever you decide to put in as your annual contribution, let's call it $500. You're not sure about this, but you know you can roll over that $500, so it's not a lot of risk. That $500 is available from you for day one. Day one, even though you haven't necessarily contributed yet, the company fronts that money for you on day one. Now, yes, it is. If you leave, you no longer have access to that money, so you need to make sure, now there's a little bit of a carryover time, but you need to make sure that you're using it. So I would highly recommend, if you've never used an FSA, think about what you're spending out of pocket just for various medical expenses, aspirin, co-pays, bandages, sunblock. It's going to probably be a couple hundred, if not more dollars. Put that into your FSA. Maybe it's more than that. Put that into your FSA, and it's there day one for you to use. Now, if you're part of the PPO, you cannot contribute to a flexible spending account, but you do have this health savings account. So the big difference here is, one, it's a savings account. So this is not a use it or lose it. It stays with you. You can contribute every year. It continues to grow. If you leave, again, we don't want you to leave, but if you do, the money goes with you. So it's portable between employers. And remember, we're putting in $500 into that account for you as long as you're contributing to this health savings account. Now, you can't do the flexible spending account. I mentioned that before. Flexible spending account, if you have the PPO, sorry, the HMO, you can use for health costs, eye costs, dental costs. But with a PPO, you can get what's called a limited FSA. This is really only for costs associated with dental or vision, but maybe you're going to get another set of frames, or maybe you want two sets of glasses, and one for daytime, nighttime, or sportswear. So that's a good reason to maybe get a limited FSA as well. So that'll be a choice for you if you have the PPO high deductible plan. Finally, everyone can participate in a dependent care account. This is most often used for child care or some other type of daycare that might be needed. And you can contribute pre-tax dollars up to $5,000. So if you're going to spend money anyway on daycare, you might as well put it into a dependent care account, and you're saving your tax rate again on that money. All of these programs, the flexible spending account, the health savings account, the limited FSA, the dependent care account, and that health reimbursement account that I talked about earlier for the HMO, where we'll rebate half of your deductible and other out-of-pocket expenses. All of this is going to be managed through HRC Total Solutions. You can see their name on the bottom of the screen, HRC Total Solutions. So make sure you're looking for and pay attention for an email from them. If you're in one of our health insurance plans, you will be getting information from HRC about how to open up your account there and have that card so that you can spend your FSA or HSA money. Okay, we're going to go away from the insurance and briefly talk about a 401k. Now, that 401k at ATG is managed through Capital Group and American Funds plans. Some highlights of it. Company match of 4%. So that's guaranteed. We are going to put 4% up. If you're putting in 4%, we'll match that up to 4% of your salary. We now have quarterly match contributions. So that's a change based on feedback. We had been doing it annually. We've made it a little quicker. So every quarter, give us 30 days after the end of the quarter, we'll match. It's auto enrollment now for you as a new hire through Capital Group American Funds. So you will be enrolled in this. And it's a safe harbor plan. And what that means is a lot of goes into that, but primarily that means the funds are yours. Even the company matching funds, you're vested in day one. So there's no vesting period for our 401k. So again, highly recommend that you contribute at least 4% of your wages, because we're going to match that. So it's like getting a 4% pay increase day one. Again, that's pre-tax dollars with your 401k. So next, I want to go over some of the other voluntary benefits that are available. So first, we're going to talk about benefits that are available through Lincoln Financial Group. This includes accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity, and additional life insurance. So accident insurance, and I can't tell you the rates on any of these because this is going to depend on how much coverage you get, as well as some of these are based on your age and whether you smoke or not. So it's a little bit more challenging to provide details here. But when you go online in the Navigator, you'll get an idea of what the cost will be based on all that information. So accident insurance, if you get into an accident, you might break your arm, tear something, have some type of accidents. Depending on the level of accident, you just get a one-time lump sum payment for that, because we know there's probably other costs that are going to get covered by insurance if you have that accident. So you might want to consider that. That's a new program that we just introduced this year. And the second thing you can purchase through Lincoln Life is critical illness. This is also a lump sum, but this time for a diagnosed disease, cancer, or many other diseases. This also, by the way, has a wellness benefit, so that if you do get your annual physical wellness checkup through your doctor, you'll get $50 if you pick critical illness as well. Finally, the hospital indemnity plan, it's an overnight lump sum. If you're in the hospital and admitted for overnight stay, you get a number, and every day that you stay in the hospital, an additional lump sum for that hospital stay. And all of these can be for you or any of your members of your family. Accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity programs. The final one I want to talk about is life insurance. Yes, the company provides you that $50,000 of coverage free of cost, but you may want to buy more life insurance. You can get up to $150,000 of additional life insurance with no medical questions. So because this is the open enrollment time for you as a new hire, no medical questions asked, up to that $150,000. Now, you can get up to 5 times your annual pay with some medical questions being asked. I'd highly, highly recommend, if you're unsure about life insurance, potentially just get the lowest amount, which is $10,000. That way, you'll never have to have those medical questions asked initially, and you can, in subsequent years, increase it up to that $150,000 without any medical questions. If you don't pick it this year, yes, it'll be available next year, but it'll be subject to those medical questions being answered. So 4 things provided by Lincoln that are optional: accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity. All those are basically lump sums, and then of course your life insurance as well. Finally, one other insurance that you might be interested in. Yes, the company provides short-term and long-term disability. You saw that was 60% of your salary up to certain limits, but realize that's also taxable because the company's paying for that. So you may want to get additional short-term disability coverage. That can be bought through Colonial Life. Again, through the Navigator process, you'll be asked about that. You may want to buy additional coverage to supplement your income, either for short or longer-term disability. Very popular program, given the physical nature of many of our jobs at ATG. A lot of our employees actually buy additional short-term disability coverage. Okay, so that's basically your insurance. Some other additional benefits that are either tied to our insurance programs or are completely different. So one, with Blue Cross Blue Shield. So if you're on any of our medical plans, realize you'll have a Virgin Pulse. This is a wellness program whereby doing certain activities, reading cards, taking steps, answering some questions, putting in some demographic information, you can earn points, which then can be converted to dollars or various physical fitness equipment, up to $400 a year, $100 a quarter. So if you miss one quarter, don't worry. Just get on the bandwagon the next quarter. Every quarter, you can get $100 worth of money, all through Blue Cross Blue Shield. I mentioned the fitness and weight loss reimbursement. You also have 24/7 access to a nurse's hotline. You also have access to a specialist for a serious illness care. Some of this is proactive, that Blue Cross Blue Shield will realize, hey, something's going on. We may need to offer more holistic help. So that's available. If you or a family member who's covered is pregnant, there's a Living Healthy Babies program with Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's a smoking cessation program. Highly encourage you to take part of that. If you know you're going to be traveling overseas for an extended period of time, there's a Geo Blue discount to provide additional insurance. Again, you're always covered for an emergency, but maybe there's a longer time coverage that you or someone in your family needs. So look at that. If they're traveling overseas, it might be a year abroad or a half a year abroad, a semester abroad for a student. And finally, there's a multitude of discounts through Blue 365. Lincoln Life, every employee gets this because we have those company provided benefits with Lincoln Life. You have access to the employee assistance program, great free advice around legal or counseling. You can access it online or as well as through a phone number. Username is LFG Support and the password is LFG Support 1. Life Keys is similar to the EAP. It offers benefits like saving money, legal, financial, family, and career guidance, protection against identity theft, online wealth rep, beneficiary support systems, grief counseling, web ID is Life Keys. Travel Connect, traveling more than 100 miles away from home, Travel Connect is included. And can arrange for emergency travel, free emergency medical help with insured employees and dependents traveling with you, and funeral prep, anything planning or pre-planning for a funeral. So a lot of different things. Again, don't think about these every day, but if something's happened, check out your benefits. And then finally, we also offer pet insurance, and affiliate awards for buying a car, tickets at work, and BJ's membership. And you'll see communication around this throughout the year. There's also on Navigator, and we're going to get to Navigator in a second, more details about all of these programs on Navigator and a 2-page summary on Navigator. So speaking of Navigator, how do you enroll? Well, you're going to get a link on day 2, so probably tomorrow or next week, depending on when you're watching this, which will allow you to access Navigator. And that's our portal for all things benefits. Now, this is an example of what your home screen will look like or potentially look like. And this is where you're going to enroll in benefits, not both now as a new hire, and you have 30 days to make those enrollments. In this case, you can see there's 29 days left. This is also where open enrollment will happen. But this isn't the only time you're going to necessarily want to go into Navigator, because you can see we're going to continue to provide compliance documents here. So if you want the full plan summaries, this is where you go to get it to understand what's covered. And occasionally we'll put links on here to videos or other helpful information. So again, you can see welcoming page, the shortcut pages, as well as when you enroll in benefits. So a lot here. And once you get into there, it's going to have your information here. You can see there's 21 steps to enroll in benefits, and that shouldn't be surprising. Some of that's just basically we want to verify your personal information. Now, this should already be populated with your information, but if anything's wrong, you can update it here, and it will go back into Paylocity, our payroll system, our HR system. It will ask you if you're a tobacco user. I mentioned some of the insurance premiums that are voluntary are based on whether you smoke or not. Then the next page you're going to be doing, I'm not going to go through every page, but to verify your address, verify your dependent information. That'll help pull in for some of these other benefits. Again, all of that should be pre-populated based on the information you provided to us in our HR system. And then you're going to get to pick our medical insurance. We talked about that. If you're eligible for a health savings account with the PPO, you'll have an option to pick a health savings account or the flexible spending account if you pick the HMO. Limited purpose FSA, I talked about that. That's if you're part of the PPO and you've taken the health savings account. the dependent care spending account, pre-tax dollars for child care or other care, dental insurance, vision insurance. We do talk about the group life insurance. We need to understand who your beneficiary is going to be for that. And then the voluntary benefits, voluntary life, group short-term disability. We also talked about that. This is just going to explain what that is. Group long-term disability. And then, of course, the other voluntary benefits, accident, hospital indemnity, critical illness, as well as the optional disability insurance. And on each of these pages, as you go to them, not only will you see the pricing based on your elections, there are also documents there that open up as PDFs, and you can actually read what's covered. And then finally, at the end, it's going to summarize everything, ask you to verify it all. Now, if you get halfway through this and you come back, you can start back at the beginning, or you can just go right to where you left off and make any additional changes. But once you're done and you select it and you verify everything, again, that's valid unless there's a life change event that happens to you until January of 2024. So again, you can see all of that stuff that I highlighted here. So thank you. Welcome to ATG. We're excited to have you as part of our team. We really do want to make sure we provide the best benefits, best insurance for you and your family. You will be getting that link to Navigator. So please ask questions of your local HR person or myself, Kevin Gaugish. Remember, we're here to help you. It's a lot to take in, I understand it, but we want to make the best benefits for you. Have a great day 2 at ATG.